Good evening.
Good evening. Reverend Rod Williams, 101 Everett Close and 1 Hillsborough. Statement said, Hillsborough Township is proud to honor the history and contributions of African Americans in our community. So it's fitting that this be the last day of African American Black History Month. Let me begin with a brief story from my corporate days. I was part of a 3-person training panel charged with evaluating the final presentations of a group of 10 candidates seeking to become facilitators for career transition seminars. The other evaluators were both white, and the candidates consisted of 8 whites, 1 Asian, and 1 African American. Halfway through, there was a break for lunch, and the 8 white candidates sat together while the Asian candidate read a book, and the African American candidate went into the hall to make phone calls. When all the presentations were done, the 3 of us graded each candidate, and we all agreed that the Asian and the African American candidate had to demonstrate a superior command of the material, but my 2 fellow evaluators had given them the lowest marks. When I questioned their marks, I was surprised to hear that they based their lowest grades on their actions during the break, which wasn't a metric. They both said, well, they didn't join the group, to which I responded, and yet the group didn't reach out to them. After our conversation, their grades were changed and both were hired owing to the ignorance of their bias. I shared this story to illustrate the profound disappointment in this body that I witnessed in the Black History Month proclamation at the last Township Committee meeting that was presented in as hollow a manner as possible as to not a single member of the African American community of residents of this town. Once again, we're faced with the task of pointing out the lack of sensitivity, self-awareness, and bias that's become so painfully evident when you look at the lack of diversity in this body. As you know, Mayor Lapani and Committeeman Thompson, I stood at this very forum regarding the 2 police shootings that resulted in the deaths of 2 people of color, and subsequently met with the mayor, town administrator, and the police chief regarding an issue of racial harassment and the failure of police to take any meaningful action on behalf of a Black family. Our concerns led us to the formation of 1 Hillsborough and to cautiously hope that you would become more aware and responsive to issues like these, owing to the lack of any meaningful interactions with people from underrepresented communities in the town on your part. But not only did you fail to appreciate even the very symbolism of such an empty gesture during Black History Month, but it's now up to us to once again correct your mistake as we bring this to your attention. It would have taken so little effort on your part to have reached out to ask for someone to recognize, such as Sister Danetta Johnson and the great work she's doing with the Sauerland African American Museum, or Sister Joyce Eldridge Howard being named to the Central State University Alumni Achievement Hall of Fame, for example. But here we stand now, and there was no one here, as well as there was no slide. And all you have to do is go back and look at the nonchalance from February 14th. You all must do better. And we will continue to not only demand that, but we'll also hold you accountable as such. Thank you.